I've been asked to refurbish this pond that's just behind me, and you can see it here, and I'm going to be emptying it out, relining it, putting some fleece over the top of the liner, and then putting all the plants and the pond life back in. I'm going to show you how I'm doing it in case it's something that you've been interested in how to do. I'm not sure whether the way that I do it is perfect, but I know that it works. So you can see that there are sections where the liner is visible. So I'm going to reshape some of that, but also by using a fleece liner over the top, the subsoil that you then put in, and sand and grit and that sort of thing, will have something to adhere to, so it far more quickly gets covered, and so you don't see so much liner showing through. Also, there's a section here where it becomes shallow, and then there's another section of the pond where the flag irises are, as well as the purple loosestrife, and there's tons and tons of other stuff in there that we're going to be able to get rid of, like loads of the couch grass we'll be able to get rid of, and also digging a section of this part out so that you've got an overall deeper pond in the middle, as well as some interesting stuff still going on around the margins. Quite quickly, whenever you make a pond, you'll see pond life starting to go in there, in my experience anyway, but I've just found that I've had the greatest success whenever I've done it in the autumn. It's also not absolutely freezing yet, which is a pretty miserable time to be making ponds and getting absolutely soaked and muddy. To figure out how much lining you're going to need, let's just imagine that the pond was a perfect rectangle. This is the length, but it works for the width too. So you're going to get 0.3, which is just your overhang. I'm doing this in meters, whatever you decide to do it in, you can convert. The bottom, the deepest point is 0.9. So that's going to mean you've got two of these, so 2 times 0.9, and you've got two of these. 2 times 0.3, you got one of these, which is 4 meters. So if you add those all up, 2 of the depth, 1 of the length, and 2 of the overhang, and you've got 6.4 meters. If you do that for the width, it's going to come out as 4.4, so you may have to round that up when you go and buy your liner. In reality, you won't need quite as much because the pond is actually a bit more like this. So you may be able to go down a size, However, if you are going to do that, just remember that it's going to be an absolute disaster if it doesn't actually cover and you end up having to chuck loads back in order to make use of the liner that you bought. You can see these water forget-me-nots. Can't remember the name at the moment. This one's actually a bit of water mint, which, yep, can smell it, and some Butyl cannabinum, which likes to be wet but not actually in the pond. So the pond's filled back up, and I put back all of the plants, and I'll show you now. When we come back tomorrow, you'll see that a lot of the sediment will have settled and the pond will start to look a lot clearer, and that will improve with time because there's loads of plants in there. If there's any nutrients in the water, they should be helping to reduce the nutrient level and making the water clearer. Let's have a look today. Looks soupy. Tomorrow should be a lot better. So these plants will start to bed in, and they'll start to disguise some of the unsightly edges that I've tried to cover up with some rocks, and then here I've got some pebbles which will also help with allowing birds to bathe and things to enter and exit the water. As these plants come on, then this pond's going to start looking way better, as well as clearing up a fair bit. The sediment's largely settled, but there's still a little bit of time for that to happen too. It's been raining quite a bit, so you kind of expect a lot of the banks to have started to be washed in a little bit before the plants have been able to stabilise those banks and put roots through the soil and cover it up to stop it from going in. So with time this will really improve.